Controllers. These days I play far more mouse and keyboard than I do controller, but just looking at them takes me back mentally to a time where I'd laugh with glee in the postgame lobby while some salty tween would tell me from the bottom of the leaderboard about how he played bad because he was up late the other night banging my mom. Anywho, I was streaming not too long ago and read a comment along the lines of, I want a great controller but can't afford to spend $200, which made me think, well, do you need to spend that much, actually? Let's find out. I ordered a few controllers, spent a few hours trying them out, and I'm here to report my findings on another exciting episode of Grown Man Doesn't Have Enough to Do in His Free Time. Starting off with an upgraded version of my original love, the Xbox Elite Series 2. Again, these days I'm primarily on mouse and keyboard, but until I made that jump, the Xbox controller was my jam, and I eventually purchased the Elite Series 1, which I wound up really enjoying. The Elite controller is heavy, sleek, and what I'd call a high-end product for sure. My only complaint with the original Series 1 controller back when I used it was that it had a short-ass lifespan. They broke constantly, and I no joke went through about 6 or 7 of them due to either joystick drift or the bumper buttons flat out breaking. And if you're thinking, Jesus, is Fallout some kind of D-bag trust fund kid? How could he afford all that? Nah, oddly enough, I got it from Best Buy, which offered a really handy insurance policy of $20 or something. I could essentially get a brand new Elite controller if the one I had broke. I've only used the Elite Series 2 for a short time so far, but no issues yet, and my partner, the lovely Anno, has used her Elite 2, she's a controller main, for years and reports no problem with breaking. So yay to Microsoft for making their product less flimsy. Anyway, I have some new complaints about the Elite Series 2, which I'll get out of the way now. Complaint number 1 is how annoyingly complicated it was to program the paddles on the back of the controller. Quick side note, by the way, in my opinion, if you really enjoy gaming with a controller, and especially if you play PvP, I think you're missing out if you're playing with something that doesn't have back paddles. For the love of God, it isn't early 2000s Halo 2 MLG Grand Finals Las Vegas. You don't have to play claw anymore. Anywho, the Elite controller makes you jump through an annoying number of hoops to get your back paddles programmed. I planned on using this controller on PC, and it wanted me to download multiple apps which refused to cooperate. I ended up waking my Xbox out of its multi-year coma to help me expedite the process. In short, be warned, if you're getting an Elite controller to use on PC and you don't have an Xbox, mapping the back paddles and customizing the rest of the controller may be a giant pain. Complaint number 2 is mostly me being a dumbass. When I ordered the controller, I thought, wow, that's much cheaper than I was expecting. Turns out that's because I just ordered the plain controller, aka no other accessories and no back paddles. Whoops, my bad. For the record, it is definitely my fault. I didn't check to see if the controller I ordered came with paddles, but I mean, come on, why in the hell would you even offer an Elite controller for sale that doesn't come with back paddles? That's literally the main thing that sets it apart from a regular Xbox controller. Anywho, I got extra paddles for me to use, so I slapped them on. But yeah, outside of those 2 main complaints, I gotta tell you, the Elite Series 2 is every bit as good as I thought it would be. I goofed around with it in Destiny 2 and Halo for old time's sake, and yeah, rock goddamn solid. I think the Elite is going to be very appealing if you're really into the deeper levels of customization of a controller. For example, you can manually adjust the sensitivity levels of your individual joysticks differently, adjust the rumble factor for each quadrant of the controller, and pinpoint tune the trigger sensitivity. I don't think the average player really needs to do those things, but it's cool that you have the option. The price tag, though, might put some people off. It's actually come down over the years. It used to be around $200, but now the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2 has been knocked down to about $160. Or you could spend $150 if you just want the controller alone, aka no back paddles at all, which I think is a massive waste. For real, if you're getting a controller like this, the paddles are a must IMO. I originally wanted this to be an expensive controller versus cheap controller video, but I happen to have one more pricey son of a bitch on the shelf, so why not bring him down and dust him off for the video? Introducing the Scuf Instinct Pro. And yeah, I know in the past I was partnered with Scuf. Like many a streamer, that is long over. The Instinct Pro actually solved a big problem I had with some older Scuf models like the Scuf Vantage, and that's the problem of plastic paddles. I liked the Vantage back when I used it, but I had to be really gentle when playing or I'd end up breaking the back paddles, which I did on more than one occasion because apparently I play with the grip intensity of a chimpanzee on cocaine. Or hey, maybe they were just naturally flimsy. The Instinct Pro has metal paddles on the back like the Xbox Elite Elite, but unlike the Elite, these paddles are built into the controller, as in they literally cannot be detached. They're firm and they feel good to click. Another thing I really like, no stupid jumping through hoops for mapping out the back paddles like with the Elite. No app downloading, no extra software, none of that trash. Just a combination of holding the profile button on the back, then holding the corresponding paddle and button you want it to be mapped to, boom, done. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The Scuf Instinct Pro is still the best controller I've ever used. Fired up some Halo Master Chief Collection and didn't lose one step. That thing is my old reliable. After all this time, it never broke, never got stick drift, was easy to program, comfortable to hold, and has good weight.
The only two things it has going against it, not as much software customization as the Elite controller, and the price, $230. Yeesh, boys. Not to mention that is just how much it costs at base. If you make other modifications, that price can go even higher, north of $250, and that's without shipping.
I will say though that if you either play a ton of games and really care about how well you play in multiplayer on controller, or if you're a streamer or something, it's hard to find a better option than the Instinct Pro. I think it's a worthwhile investment, but again, only if you're a diehard and gaming is a mega hobby to you. Moving right along to our final option. My original plan for today's video was to pick up the GameSir Nova Lite, which I'd heard was a quality option for people on a budget. And while the reviews are favorable, the controller apparently doesn't have back paddles, which I know I'm filleting pretty hard right now, but I really do like them, and I want this to be an apples to apples type comparison with the other two controllers.
Anyway, while looking into the Nova Lite, I actually found this, the Easy SMX wireless controller for $32. Works with a bunch of stuff, bunch of decent reviews, and 4 back paddles like the Elite, so I ordered it.
I'll admit, I was off-put by just how small the box that held the controller was, and kind of worried that this was only going to be usable if you got some munchkin Oompa Loompa ass hands, but no, it's actually about the same size as the Elite, and it felt fine to hold. And like the Scuf Instinct Pro, no nonsense in terms of getting the back paddles mapped out. No app downloading at all. Like the Scuf, just hold the buttons and the triggers in a certain order, and booyah, good to go. After a few hours with this bad boy, I only have one real complaint, and it's kind of a random one. The triggers don't go down as far as I'm used to. It's hard to explain. They work fine, but it's almost like I have trigger stops installed when the controller doesn't come with any. Also, it's battery powered, so if you need to charge it up, the USB cable it came with was really short, like oddly short, but that's really about it. I had a great time using this controller, and on God, I know it sounds like I'm about to tell you today's video is sponsored by the Easy SMX, but nah, not only did this controller work out well, but dare I say, I actually like it more than the Xbox Elite Series 2. Don't tell Drewski. Kidding aside though, $31 for a controller like this is an absurdly good value. I can't comment on how durable the thing is, because again, I've only owned it for about a week. Hoping it won't break easily after repeated use, it definitely doesn't feel as sturdy as the Elite, but it doesn't feel too cheap, if that makes sense. I planned on going down the rabbit hole even further if I ended up not liking the Easy, but again, I think it's kind of great, and if you're looking for an intro controller into the wide world of back paddles, this is a solid entry point. At the end of the day, I think it all comes down to two things. One, your budget, and two, how much you care. If you're just a weekend gamer or on a budget, go with the cheapo option, who cares? If it was this easy for me to find a decent option under $40, there's sure to be more where that came from. There's no way this is that rare of an anomaly. And if you're a diehard controller player or a more than average hobbyist, the high-end options are not only there, but probably more justifiable if you've got a higher budget. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. If you're a controller player and have something that you really love using, let me know down in the comment section what it is and how much it costs. I'd be interested in looking into more based on what I find. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Peace!